Welcome back. I'm prepared to be bedazzled because today I'm going to be shedding light on the number one reason appertaining to why the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression is a terrible place to live in. So what is this attributable to? Without further ado, without further delay, without further procrastination, allow me to demystify the answer to that inquiry right here, right now. Lamentably, much of my dismay, much of my consternation, much of my chagrin, much of my grief, much of my agony, much of my agitation, much of my irritation. Early life slavery is perpetrated against people in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression. The practice of slavery in any form is inhumane, immoral, reprehensible, and unvindicated. Even though all forms of slavery should be abolished, modern slavery is inapt to ever be abolished. The mandate to attend the 13-year K-12 compulsory concentration camp that is imposed against people against their own volition is ineffably inhumane, is the utmost pernicious form of modern slavery, and should be abolished. People should have purview over how their precious time is earmarked, and the right to liberty should never be trampled on. In the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp, a person's inalienable right to liberty is severely encroached on no facets. In this control market economy, people are sentenced to a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory indoctrination camp against their own volition, which some people refer to as a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory prison, while other people refer to it as a 13-year insalubrious K-12 concentration camp, due to it being an insalubrious environment that individuals are relegated to from a young age against their own accord. Being sentenced to a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp against their own accord in this control market economy not only dispossesses a person of at least 37,440 hours of his sacrosanct, indispensable, finite, precious, and valuable time, but also induces stunted growth, chronic burnout, chronic sleep deprivation, chronic fatigue, chronic stress, depression, anxiety, misery, agony, distress, telomere shortening, accelerated cellular aging, and poor health. Moreover, being sentenced to a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp against his own accord in this control market economy not only dispossesses a person of at least 37,440 hours of his sacrosanct time, but also sets up a person to be poised for a life fraught with hardships, insurmountable debt, chronic poverty, penury, compromised health, chronic burnout, chronic fatigue, chronic stress, a severely reduced quality of life, an increased mortality rate, and ineffable despair. In other words, being sentenced to a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp against their own volition in this control market economy is a primary reason as to why most people have been set up for career failure as children. Lamentably, a person will not receive any universal basic income, pension, benefits, grant, stipend, allowance, remuneration, investment securities, brands, knowledge, nor anything of value for having been dispossessed of 37,440 hours of a sacrosanct time during the course of a brutal 13-year sentence at a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp in this control market economy in which he partook in boondoggle activities against his own accord by completing classroom assignments, by completing homework assignments, and by being transported to and from the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp every weekday for at least 2,340 days over at least 4,680 needless trips. Being sentenced to a 13-year K-12 compulsory concentration camp renders a person poised for career failure, especially since it dispossesses a person out of his sacrosanct time needed to establish and build up multiple recurring revenue streams amid his early life years. By being dispossessed of 37,440 hours of their sacrosanct time during a brutal 13-year sentence at a 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp, they not only forgo the opportunity to have sufficient time to obtain quality deep sleep, eat salubrious foods, partake in moderate intensity exercises, and work towards reaching worthwhile higher aspirations and worthwhile overarching goals amid their early life years, but also forgo the opportunity to be able to produce income-generating assets amid their early life years that recurring revenue streams are comprised of. So people should have purview over how their time is allocated. They attend the K-12 compulsory insalubrious concentration camp under duress against your own volition in the land of draconian slavery and draconian oppression. It's a 13-year setback. It's 13 years of foregone learning time. Is it a tormentous experience in Ophasis to attend the K-12 insalubrious 13-year concentration camp and complete classroom assignments and homework assignments for the K-12 compulsory insalubrious 13-year concentration camp against one's own volition? Attending the K-12 compulsory 13-year insalubrious concentration camp is devoid of any redeeming qualities. Attending the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camp sets the person back 13 years from being able to be pursuant of worthwhile aspirations, worthwhile overarching goals, worthwhile career aspirations, and health optimization measures. It culminates in being at least 37,440 hours of severe chronic sleep deprivation. So the mandate to attend the K-12 13-year insalubrious compulsory concentration camps should immediately be abolished. It should have never been instituted. It's completely deleterious, it's completely inimical, it's completely hazardous to attend the 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camps. And there's no recompense, there's no remuneration, there's no emolument, there's no compensation for completing all these classroom assignments and homework assignments against one's own accord for the K-12 insalubrious 13-year compulsory concentration camps. And if you're incompliant with their demands, then they could just cause you to be held back, which could prolong your sentence at the K-12 insalubrious 13-year compulsory concentration camps. Experience is fraught with torment. It is absent of any redeeming qualities and is just an egregiously abysmal experience in Ophasis. As I stated earlier, recapitulate, it is 13 years of foregone learning time. It is 13 years of foregone time to be pursuant of worthwhile higher aspirations, worthwhile career aspirations, worthwhile overarching goals, and health optimization measures. We should have purview over how our precious, indispensable, finite, sacrosanct time is earmarked. We should not be sentenced to these 13-year insalubrious K-12 compulsory concentration camps. They are a disservice to us and offend us. Modern slavery should be abolished, but I cannot envision it ever being abolished in the 21st century, nor 22nd century, nor 23rd century in the land of draconian slavery and draconian oppression. So, there are a copious amount of reasons appertaining to why the land of draconian slavery and draconian oppression is a terrible place to live, and the reason that I just provided is the number one reason as to why the land of draconian slavery and draconian oppression is a terrible place to live. It is a harrowing experience, and no facets to serve a sentence at the K-12 13-year insalubrious concentration camp. You're completing all these assignments against your own volition. If you're sentenced to the K through 12 13-year insular-based concentration camp, they overwhelm you with classroom assignments, and they overwhelm you with homework assignments, and there's no payout for completing them. It's just 37,440 hours of torment, sleep deprivation, chronic stress, telomere shortening, accelerated cellular aging, agony, distress, anxiety, depression, fatigue, stunted growth, and chronic burnout. And you cannot recuperate this time that you are dispossessed of against your own volition, under duress, by being sentenced to a K through 12 13-year insular-based compulsory concentration camp in the land of Draconian slavery and Draconian oppression. So I hope that you deem this video to be riveting, captivating, mesmerizing, insightful, enthralling, intriguing, engrossing, amusing, and informative. I hope that you're entrenched in the underlying epicness. I do think that children should be homeschooled 100% of the time so that they can circumvent succumbing to early life slavery, which is the utmost deleterious form of slavery. Parents should always be diligent parents, and part of being a diligent parent is being willing to homeschool your children 100% of the time in those circumstances. Once again, I hope that you deem this video to be eminently entertaining and no fastness. Thanks for watching. Have a blissful day.